It's got a crispy top. It's fluffy and light all the way through. It's soft towards the meat. It's just incredible. Hi everyone, welcome to Backyard Chef. I'm Rick. Today we're doing a beef mushroom pie topped with the pastry in the oven, but we start it off on the stove. It's simple to do. Let's show you how to do it right now. Okay, in here I have topside beef, 1 kilo. I've cubed it. I've already diced the onions to make it easier, and I've already diced some brown mushrooms. But in the interest of a cooking video, this should be pretty boring. Garlic. Garlic is optional. You don't have to have garlic if you don't want it. That's up to you. I like garlic in my pies. Now, we're not going to go too crazy on mincing it up. You can mince it all with a mincer if you want. That's up to you. And that is going in there with those onions. In with your onions, one side. Mushrooms. Now, these mushrooms have already been cleaned. I've cleaned them all and wiped them down. All we want to do is we want some good old chunks of mushroom in here. We don't want thin slices. That's up to you. If you want thin slices, put thin slices in. I prefer to have chunks of mushroom. After all, we're making a beef and mushroom pie, so it should have mushroom in as part of the texture. Now, rough chop them. It doesn't matter how you chop them. Who cares? It's going in a pie. Don't be hung up on you have to quarter, slice, do and dice, whatever. Chop them up, done. Finished. We want a pan. That's a bit like Jamie Oliver, actually. We want a pan. Now, it's entirely up to you. I like a little bit of butter in there for my pies, as you all well know. And we're going to hit it with just a little bit of oil. Want a flame on. Some thyme. Onions, garlic in there. Do we have to wait for it all to heat up? No. We do not. Starting to sizzle in there. Perfect. Now, you can flour up your beef if you so wish. You can put flour on there and everything like that. That is entirely up to you. The only thing I would suggest is that you put a bit of seasoning on the meat. Now, for all those people that season flour and then put meat in, why? Bit of seasoning in there. Now, I'm not using salt. I'm only using pepper. I'm not using salt because I'm using a gravy mixture which has salt in. Now, the meat's going in next. All that meat's going in there. I'm going to start that off in there before adding the mushrooms. You know, I want the mushrooms to release some of that fluid, but I want them to have texture and be quite chunky. Okay, and I'm going in there with a good pinch of thyme. And I'm going to actually put some thyme in my pastry as well. Thyme in now. It'll rehydrate in there with that flavour. And the beef will take some of it on. Smells amazing in here. Absolutely amazing. Oh. We're starting cooking this off like this now because this is going to take about an hour to cook. So we're going to cook it off, put a lid on, let it simmer, low and slow, tender up that beef. Now this beef's not going to take that long because it's topside. I'm going in there with some Worcester sauce. A good tablespoon of Worcester sauce actually. A good tablespoon. Let that meat cook in there with that flavour. And then when we put the mushrooms in, everything we put in here now will draw out that moisture from the mushrooms. As quick as this, mushrooms in. Brown, white, whatever you've got, old, new. Now don't worry about the overflowing pan. The overflowing pan is going to reduce down. Now if you wanted to turn this into an Aussie style pie, you can go in with some Vegemite. You know, the Vegemite's got a fantastic body of flavour, and so has Marmite. Now, I'm not sure you can get a Torah Suet down there. This is what I'm using, bog standard, a Torah Suet. This is what we famously know for suet puddings and suet pies. Okay, so we use a Torah, ready and available in the UK. Around the world you have to check, and I'll put a link in the description actually, and you can check the description. Just check it. If you don't want it, don't get it. And if you look in here, we got a pan full of water, mushrooms, and don't forget that is mushroom flavouring. A good couple of tablespoons of tomato puree in there. Get it stirred in. Now we don't make this complicated. Okay, just stir that through there with your meat, onions, garlic and mushrooms, and then we're going in with our beef stock. Then we're putting the lid on and we're going to let it simmer for about an hour. Test it to see if it's fork tender. If it's not fork tender, we're going to go a little bit longer. Beef broth, I'm using no powder. I like the no powder. The trouble is it's a little bit salty. Stir it round and bob your lid on. Simmer for about an hour. Okay, I'm just going to put the pie mix behind me. We just want to make up this pastry. Now this is a weird pastry actually. I've got self-raising flour and corn flour in there. I'm going to go in there with a little bit of salt. Probably about half a teaspoon, but you can go up to a teaspoon if you want. Just give that a mix round. Keep the whisk in there with our suet. Now this is a fantastically weird pastry. Just bring this together in here into fairly fine breadcrumbs, and the reason why we're doing it this way is just simply because I don't think it will break down. So we just break it down like this in here now with the flour. Like I said, this is a weird pastry, but you'll like it. It's very much traditional, you know. Now the corn flour in here, this is self-raising flour, so it's going to raise up. If you don't know how to make self-raising flour, there's a link on my channel right now in the description. Have a look down there and you can make self-raising or self-rising flour. It's easy to make, and to be quite honest, it's not worth buying it for the expense that it is. If you bake or anything like that, you'll have baking powder in the house. You've got ordinary flour and you've got salt if you want to salt it. Okay. Now all we're doing here is making this into very, very quick breadcrumbs. Now it's not essential this, that they're all small and minute. I'm covered in flour, look, as per usual. That's our flour in there. This is milk. This is the weirdest pastry ever. Get that mixed up into a nice batter. You know, not a lot of people know this type of pastry. I absolutely love it. I'm going to give that a bit of a mixing with a spoon, simply because the corn flour's probably stuck this all together. So all we're going to do is bring that in there. Bring it in, give it a work. Oh, look at that. Job done. Put to one side. Right, we're going to let that settle a little minute whilst we finish cooking our pie filling. Okay, let's get the lid off that pie filling. Let's have a look in there. This is our lush pie filling. Just look at that. Now what we need to do is we need to take that out and leave some gravy. We want some gravy left in there. Okay, let's do it like this. Let's get the filling first. And we want that filling in there. Get our pie lined out with the filling first. Then we're going with a little bit of gravy. And we'll retain some gravy for the top. Okay, now we've got this really lush gravy in here. But we do want a bit in with our filling. Else when it cooks in there, it's going to be blooming dry. I mean, come on, look at that. Oh, it looks incredible. Right, now just push it down. Push it down, try and even it out a little bit, you know, so we're all going to get a bit of meat, we'll all get a bit of mushrooms. Right, I'm using the oven today. I'm sorry I've got jars everywhere. I'm actually making other things because it's the Christmas build up where we make a lot of things. So I'm using the oven today and we're going to pre-warm that for 170 degrees. There's our mix there, and what we need to do is get some of this thick batter on there. Now, it is a pain, but it's well worth it. So just layer it in nice and steady. Start from the edges, work in. Is just bring that in there like that. Bring it in gently with a spoon. Now, it definitely don't get much more old school than this. Now, you could have mixed some dried thyme in with your flour. I'm going to put it on now. And it just sticks into the top of this pastry as it starts to cook. On a tray, it's on a tray because I envisage it, I can't say it, it's going to bubble out. It's going to bubble out as the pastry sets up. Don't worry about it. Okay, all we need to do now is get that in there. Cook for about 30 minutes. About 30 minutes and we'll see what it's like. Job done, leave it. I think what we're going to do is do the old skewer test because we know the inside's cooked. So we're going to stick a skewer in and see if it comes out clean from that suet pastry. Because it's bubbling over in this oven. It's as clean as a whistle. We're going to take that out of there. Let's get that out and put it on here. Oh, look at that monster. And as you can see, oh, it's as clean as a whistle. You know, it's got a nice top on there. Inside's going to be a nice lightweight, sort of like puffed up cakey type pastry. On top of steak and mushrooms, onions. Oh! You know, and that's only had about 20 minutes in there actually. It hasn't taken any longer than that. So we just have to be careful. So it's 20 minutes in there. I put it in for 30, but it's cooked already. Oh, come on. Look at that. I think what we're going to do is we're going to get in here. I mean, there's 6 good portions in there. Come on. So what we need to do is roughly think that there. Okay, and I want the end. So let's come in here. Let's start here. Oh, look at that. Now this is old school cooking that everybody has forgotten about. I love it. All we got to do now is serve it up. Ooh. Oh, come on. And some of that gravy on there. Oh, come on. I can tell you right now, there is not a pastry in the world ever as a pie pastry that can beat this. In my opinion, this is the ultimate pastry. It's got a crispy top. It's fluffy and light all the way through. It's soft towards the meat. It's just incredible. All we gotta do now is give it a taste test. Oh, are you ready for this? I'm ready for this. Crispy top, fluffy inside. Oh man. Just the pastry alone, look at it crumble. Oh, that is amazing. That beef, you know, that beef is so tender. But you know, I'll be honest, it's been cooking for about 1 hour and 40 minutes. It just melts in your mouth. Does it need? I'm squashing this to death. Look at it. I'm just mashing it up. I'm going to eat it. It is absolutely phenomenal. That truly is old school pastry at its best. The olden day cooks knew exactly what they were doing. That is phenomenal. There's not a taste like that. It's got a crunch on the top. It's soft all the way through. You've got the meat in there with the mushrooms and the gravy. If you like what we're doing, don't forget, smash that like and subscribe, share with your friends, all that kind of stuff. Catch you in the next video.